Alrighty, welcome back into another episode of Droppin Dimes, brought to you by Bettor and Green. I am Ethan. With me, as always, is Wyatt. Wyatt in a different location, though, close to home, back in Michigan, so just about 15 minutes down the road for me. Wyatt, we're finally in the NBA playoffs. We have a nice NBA playoff edition, Droppin Dimes. How you doing? How was your trip back home to Michigan? And how have you been liking the NBA playoffs so far?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm excited to be home. I'm actually staying at my parents for a little bit. It's wedding season, so I have a couple weddings coming up. Just made more sense to stay home, but excited to be here. And then I'm super excited for the NBA playoffs. I've had a pretty good weekend in the NBA. I know if you guys joined our live earlier this week, we kind of, I mean, we don't have, I won't say we have it figured out, but one time where you can really fade the public is in the playoffs for the NBA. So that's kind of what I'm doing, and I really like totals in the NBA playoffs. So I do have quite a bit of plays on the totals, and then we are recording the night before, so that's why I'm a little hesitant yet on sides, just because the line's going to move a little bit, the public's going to play a factor. At least with the totals, you kind of know where the public's going to be on. But yeah, excited for the NBA playoffs. It's a completely different sport, fun to watch. I watched a couple games, so at least we could watch it like we couldn't during the regular season. So I'm excited. Hopefully, we can win some money for you guys this Tuesday.
Yeah, completely different sport, postseason basketball compared to regular season, at least at the pro level. Yeah, it's actually watchable, which is so nice. I've had fun watching the playoffs. I probably watched, I don't even know if I watched a full NBA game this year, to be honest with you. I definitely didn't sit there and cue in on it the whole time. Just not my cup of tea. I just am not bought into the regular season, but yeah, love the postseason. So nice that we have some competitive games here, some competitive series, and we're just gonna get right into it. We're gonna give out three plays a piece. Why I know you're gonna have mostly totals covered here. I'm gonna give out sides. As you mentioned, we are filming the day prior, so be sure to follow us on Twitter where we will tweet out our official plays. Like Wyatt just said, lines are likely to move between now and tip off for these games. So these are just our leans for the night before. And like I said, be sure to follow us on Twitter. We will tweet out our official plays um, as we make them. But Wyatt, I will throw it to you first. What is the first bet that you were looking at for Tuesday night's NBA postseason slate?
Yeah, I'm going to take the under of 212.5 in the Suns Timberwolves game. Game one was a 120 to 95 T Wolves win. That total was set at 214.5, and I was on the under and I lost by the hook. So a little bitter there. But now the total is down 2 points from that first game, despite the first game going over. And I just think this is going to be a very defensive battle. The T Wolves are the number one defensive team in the NBA. The Suns notoriously an offensive team, but this year they have not quite been hitting the stride they have in years past. And again, we're already seeing some emotion, some talking. We saw Anthony Edwards get into it with Kevin Durant a little bit. I think emotions are going to run high. Booker seems to be a little bit in his head, so it just seems like an emotional battle. T Wolves are kind of getting slept on a little bit. I think they are playing the underdog, even though they are a favorite in this game. I think they have a lot to play for. I think they're gritty enough. Again, number one defense in the NBA. I think this is going to be a very competitive game. Not sure who's going to win it, but I think there's going to be a lot of defense. So I feel fairly confident. It is my favorite play of the day. The under 212.5 in the Suns T Wolves.
Yeah, and I'll stick right in that game. I'll give a play on the side here. Yeah, I'm going to take the Timberwolves minus the points to go up 2-0 in this series, take advantage of their home court. And I have to imagine, obviously, like we just mentioned, the public's going to be flying in after tonight's slate and before tip off here, but I have to imagine the Suns are going to take the money. Um, it's Kevin Durant, it's Devin Booker. It's the Suns team that's been overhyped for 2, 3 years now, however long Kevin Durant's been there. And they just haven't really done anything with it. They had an early exit in the postseason last year that was kind of shocking. Suns were the public side in game one here. Timberwolves kind of blew them out of the water, if I remember correctly. And I just think the Timberwolves are honestly the better team. How nice does it look to get Kevin Durant and Devin Booker down 0-1 in a series, catching points? I mean, it seems so easy to jump on the Suns, and I think the public's going to do that. So I would wait to bet the Timberwolves. This honestly might go off closer to a pick 'em. But yeah, I just think the Wolves are better, honestly. It's going to be a huge fade on the public. backing Kevin Durant and Booker and kind of the all stars on the Suns. But yeah, I think the Timberwolves ultimately probably win this series, and I think they get a good start by winning Game 2 to go up 2-0.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I'm rooting for the T-Wolves. I'm not a huge KD fan. I do like Anthony Edwards quite a bit. If you haven't watched him, you should. You just can jump out of the gym. He's unreal. So he's a human highlight reel. So I will be rooting for the T-Wolves. So yeah, I think they'll, hopefully they win that one and cover.
Yeah, yeah. Quick side note on Anthony Edwards. I'm not gonna say I found him, but his senior year at Georgia, he played Michigan State super early in the year, like November. And I remember watching that game at work on my lap or on my desktop and thinking like, this kid is unbelievable. They almost beat Michigan State, kind of at Michigan State's peak, I guess, for the last 5-10 years. But yeah, great player, and I think he does carry the Timberwolves here.
Yeah, I'm gonna move on to that next game. Fierce rivalry now between the Pacers and the Bucks. Bucks won game one despite all the money and bets coming in on the Pacers. They won that one 109 to 94, so it went soaring under. I did take that over in game one. Again, I like the value of the unders in the playoffs, but I mean we have to remember. I think back on December 13th this year, the total for the Pacers Bucks game was at 258, and then it was at, I think it was at 225 or something. um and now it's at 222 and a half. So I'm gonna get square again. I know the public's gonna be all over this total, but I'm gonna take it to go over. The Bucks, even though the Bucks won, they have a terrible shooting night. Dame had 35 points. No one else did crap. Same thing with the Pacers. Siakam was the only guy that scored for the Pacers. Terrible shooting night from both teams. Ultimately, the Bucks, they get the win, but they can't shoot that bad 2 games in a row, both teams. So I think this game's going to go over. Honestly, I think the Pacers are going to bounce back. Maybe they're definitely going to score more than 94 points. So I'm going to take a shot on the over again. I don't love taking NBA playoff overs, but again, these two teams were a 36 point difference in totals a couple months ago. So 222 and a half might be a steal. Again, I would suggest jumping on this sooner rather than later because it's only going to go up.
Yeah, and I'll stick in that game too with another side. I'm gonna do the Bucks. I'm gonna do right now the Bucks on the money line. It looks like they're a 1.5 point favorite. Wouldn't even mess with that. I would just take them to win straight up. And that this is contingent on if Giannis is still out. If Giannis is back, fade, fade, fade. I'll be all over the Pacers. But yeah, I like the Bucks if Giannis is out. I mean, yeah, the Pacers had all the public on them. Everyone thought they would catch Milwaukee with Giannis out. Milwaukee dominated. Like you said, not a great shooting night for the Pacers. But really, what good is a 1-0 lead without Giannis if you give up a game at home, go 1-1, head back to Indiana with a tied series there? It's not really going to help you that much. So I think the Bucks need game 2 more than any other game in this series. Honestly, probably including game 1. I think this is a huge game for Milwaukee. We just talked about in our live on Monday night. Um, I mean, Dame is a superstar. They have guys on that team, Middleton, Lopez, other guys who have been there, done that, won a championship with Milwaukee. Just way more experience than the Pacers. The Pacers have been a fun story this year, fun team, Halliburton, and some of those guys over there. But I think the Bucks are ultimately way better. I think they're playing tough without Giannis right now, and I really think they need this game. They have experience. I think public's going to be on the Pacers to get things back to equal. Yeah, I think the Bucks are probably the play, but I will have to see what the public does, and we'll have to obviously see Giannis's status for that one. But as of right now, Bucks money line for me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the public's going to be on the Pacers. So again, I haven't quite looked at the betting splits yet. It's a little early. We're about 24 hours ahead of time. So those will change a little bit, but I would have to assume that the public would be on the Pacers to tie it back up without Giannis if he is there. And I also like your thought process. If Giannis is back, I'm jumping onto the Pacers. Don't ask me why. Couldn't tell you, but I'm glad that's me and your thought process there.
Because
We
that's
only
going to
got
go from like Pacers plus 1.5 to Pacers plus 8
Yep.
or something stupid.
And then yes, exactly. No one player, even if it is Giannis, top 3 players in the league, no one player is worth 7 point swings. It's just
Yeah.
again, unless it's an individual sport, it's not. Yeah, that's too much. Final game, Mavs Clippers. Very surprising game one. The Clippers won that one 109 to 97 without Kawhi Leonard. And this is what I was pretty high on the Mavs. This is what I was worried about the Mavs. Luca had 33 and Kyrie had 31. They had 63 points. Yeah, the rest of the team had what's that, 34 points, and they lost by 12. Like Kyrie and Luca did their job, and there's just not a whole lot of players there from the Mavs, and that's what's going to scare me a little bit. Again, the Clippers won with Harden and PG, Paul George, and they won by 12 points. It wasn't even close. But again, I have a play on this on the total here. I'm going to go back to the over, and I hate this play. It's at 217.5. It has dropped. I believe that game one was 223. So it's dropped around 6 points. Again, because it's such a low scoring game one. And again, the Mavs, their star players did their job, and they still scored 97 points. So that's definitely concerning for me. But I think some of the role players are going to have to step up for Dallas. They're going to realize, hey, our guys did their job. Us role players did absolutely nothing. So I think the role players are going to step up for Dallas, and then no idea Kawhi's status, but Clippers can score. They're no longer a defensive team like they were the last couple of years. They're a much more offensive team. So I'm gonna take a shot. I think it's good value on the over just because it was a very low scoring game one and almost an anomaly in my mind. So I do think there's value in the over. Again, probably take that sooner rather than later because that might get back up to the 220s by tip off.
Yeah, I like that play too. And yeah, I'll round it out here with a side play on that game. And again, super contingent here on if Kawhi plays or not. I believe he's out with like knee inflammation or something, so I assume he might come back. But up 1-0 without him, I mean, they might rest him one more game here. If Kawhi's out, I'm back on the Clippers plus the points. I think Mavs are going to be the most public play, uh, probably of the playoffs so far. Down 0-1, I think everyone kind of wants to see the Mavs win the championship. Honestly, I mean, Luka is a fairly likable guy. Um, they haven't really, the team hasn't really played to the potential that Luka has, and I don't know. I think the Mavs are just a very popular team and popular play. Um, and I just have to imagine they're going to take all the money in this one. And I'm just going to fade the public again. I think that's probably going to put the value back on the Clippers, who they have just underperformed in the playoffs for, God, really as long as I can remember, back to the Blake Griffin days and DeAndre Jordan, all those guys they used to have there, Chris Paul. But maybe this is the Clippers' year. I'd say maybe they're, I think, third in line behind the Nuggets and the Celtics. Yeah, I just think the public's gonna be all over the Mavs. I think Clippers without Kawhi is probably the play. Um, Last thing I'll say though, the game that Kawhi comes back, I'm on the Mavs. The game that Giannis comes back, I'm on the Pacers. The game that Zion comes back, I'm on whoever the hell they're playing, the Thunder. And the game that Jimmy Butler comes back, I'm fading the Heat too. I'm on the Celtics. So that's the second part of that injured player theory. You play the first game without them. You play the first game or against them the first game with. Um, yeah, 4-0 without those guys in that game without them. So I think you're probably at least going 3-1 in that first game back. But yeah, those are my kind of leans for those side plays, but I would definitely see where the public's at and watch those injuries.
Yeah, I'll follow suit on that injured player theory as well. So I'll be right behind you on those. And again, these lines, I know we're recording at 7:23 Eastern time on Monday night. So these lines, don't be surprised if they changed. If they did change pretty drastically, leave us a comment. Ask if we would still take it at this number. We'll be sure to get back to you in the comments as well. But yeah, I'm excited. Again, I have a lot of totals. I'll probably have size as well. Like Ethan said earlier, make sure you do follow us on Twitter. We'll post our plays before tip off as well, our official plays. But yeah, excited for another great day of NBA basketball. Excited to watch Monday's games tonight. So yeah, I'm excited. It's watchable basketball, and I'm excited to do that. It's like college basketball. I'm getting the same thrill a little bit. So excited that we're at that level. And yeah, again, hopefully we can make you guys some money tonight.
Yeah, and yeah, well said. I don't really have much more to add on that. We'll get out of here so we can get to watching these Monday night games. But guys, follow us on Twitter, like we've mentioned multiple times in this show. And then just be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, leave comments like Wyatt said, like this video, please, please, please. It really does help us. We take notice of it. And yeah, we're trying to get 1,000 subs by football season. We are 350 away as of recording, so it's very doable. So if you haven't subbed already, please do. It really helps us. We really appreciate it. Other than that, just be on the lookout for more videos coming out to YouTube this week. I know Tapping Vegas, our MMA videos, are already out, I believe, for this upcoming weekend. We should have some 5-minute wager hockey videos coming out. Go live every Monday, and then we're going to have a special NFL draft video out, I believe, Wednesday. That video should be coming out.
Yep.
So yeah, stay tuned for that. We'll have more with Kentucky Derby, some of the other kind of oddball events going on throughout the summer in the dog days of baseball. We'll talk baseball too. So just be sure to be on the lookout for those. If you're interested, hit that bell to put alerts on for our YouTube page. But other than that, guys, good luck with your NBA bets. Enjoy the games. We don't have many more basketball games left in the season, so enjoy them as they come, and we'll see you in the next episode.
You better start listening to the Bettor and Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Bettor and Green, eh? To Bettor and Green, eh? To Bettor and Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top, hey. Shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast, Bettor and Green.